Live from New Delhi, you're watching GG India Newshour, India's voice to the world. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Coming up in the next hour, India's Prime Minister and his Jamaican counterpart hold talks in New Delhi. Both countries sign 4 pacts on technology, education, culture and trade. Kingston backs New Delhi's permanent UNSC seat. West Asia is on the boil. Israel Prime Minister Netanyahu says testing days ahead. Tells Israelis to heed safety instructions. Army displays weapons it says Hezbollah plan to use in October 7 style attack. Shigeru Ishiba in fact takes over as the Prime Minister of Japan, unveils cabinet, pledges reform, deeper ties with friendly nations. India's External Affairs Minister S. Shankar congratulates Takashi Iwaya on being appointed as the Foreign Minister. Devastating floods wreak havoc, claims 223 lives in Nepal. Following this, Bihar floods worsens as Kosi River in spate after release of water from Kathmandu. India steamrolls Bangladesh in rain-hit Kanpur test, registers a records-filled clean sweep in 2-test series. In a groundbreaking moment for India-Jamaica relations, Prime Minister Andrew Holness arrived in India for his first ever official visit, the first bilateral visit by a Jamaican Prime Minister to the country. The visit is set to strengthen ties between the two nations, expanding cooperation in multiple sectors. Our next report tells you more. India and Jamaica have traditionally enjoyed cordial and friendly relations based on common linkages of history, parliamentary democracy, membership of the Commonwealth, as well as love of cricket. The diplomatic ties between India and Jamaica are flourishing since 1962. India-Jamaica ties have even got stronger now with Prime Minister Andrew Holness' visit to India. This is the first ever bilateral visit by a Jamaican Prime Minister to India. Emphasizing the importance of Jamaican PM's visit, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi stated that India is ready to share its experience with Jamaica.
आज पहली बार जमैका के प्रधानमंत्री की भारत की द्विपक्षीय यात्रा पर आए हैं, इसलिए हम इस यात्रा को विशेष महत्व देते हैं। प्रधानमंत्री होलनेस लंबे समय से भारत के मित्र रहे हैं। मुझे कई बार उनसे मिलने का अवसर मिला है और हर बार मैंने उनके विचारों में भारत के साथ संबंधों को मजबूत करने की प्रतिबद्धता को महसूस किया है।
PM Modi emphasized that the relations between India and Jamaica are based on 4 C's: culture, cricket, Commonwealth and CARICOM.
4 C's हमारे संबंधों को अंकित करते हैं: कल्चर, क्रिकेट, कॉमनवेल्थ और कैरिकॉम। आज की बैठक में हमने सभी क्षेत्रों में अपना सहयोग सुदृढ़ करने पर विचार किया और कई नए इनिशिएटिव्स की पहचान की।
While lavishing praise on Indian community residing in Jamaica, PM Modi said that people of Indian origin who consider Jamaica as their home are a living example of our cultural heritage.
लगभग 180 वर्ष पहले भारत से जो लोग जमैका गए थे, उन्होंने हमारे पीपल टू पीपल टाइज की मजबूत नींव रखी थी। आज जमैका को अपना घर मानने वाले लगभग 70,000 भारतीय मूल के लोग हमारी साझा विरासत का प्रत्यक्ष उदाहरण है।
PM Holness thanked India for its support for providing vaccines during the COVID-19 pandemic.
I must convey on behalf of the government and people of Jamaica, our sincere gratitude to the government and people of India for the tremendous support provided to us during our time of need as part of your vaccine friendship scheme. We are immensely grateful that we could count on India as a true friend and partner.
Both the nations signed 4 agreements during the bilateral meeting. These are MOU in the field of sharing successful digital public infrastructure aimed at promoting financial inclusion and social and economic transformation. MOU on e-payments between NPCI International Payments Limited and eGov Jamaica Limited. MOU on cultural exchange program between India and Jamaica for 2024-2029. MOU on cooperation in sports. India was one of the first countries to recognize Jamaica after it became an independent nation. Both countries are members of multilateral and international organizations like NAM, G77, WIPO, UN and its various subsidiary bodies. Bureau Report, TG India.
The Jammu and Kashmir Assembly polls wrapped up on Tuesday with voting for the final 40 seats in the third and largest phase of the elections. DD India's Dibyendu Model reports.
The third phase of the Jammu and Kashmir Assembly elections witnessed an impressive turnout as voters in large number came out to cast their ballots with enthusiasm. Voting was held on 40 seats across 7 districts of Jammu, Udhampur, Samba and Kathua in the Jammu region, and Baramulla, Bandipora and Kupwara in the North Kashmir region in the third phase. In many polling stations, long queues were seen since morning, signaling the public's desire to have their voices heard. Men, women and even elderly voters were eager to play their part in the democratic process. Paramilitary forces and local police ensured smooth elections. Voter spirit is high.
We want to change now. The election is going on. The people are participate about the 65%, 70%. It's a big below in our India in this state. So we will vote. Actually, the people of the politician of India. Some people they are not happy with this. Actually, we want to support the people who are in good and the politician mostly. We have now some new faces in politician.
The youth wants development, prosperity and else. That is why everyone you looking here is casting their vote, their precious vote for the development of the society and the community.
Several major political parties are in the fray, including the Jammu and Kashmir National Conference or the JKNC, People's Democratic Party or the PDP, Bharatiya Janata Party or the BJP and the Congress Party. Each party is making a final push to secure victory in these key constituencies.
Election Commission this time around is hoping that the turnout could perhaps be record number in the recent memory for the elections in Jammu and Kashmir. With camera person Piyush, this is the Dibyendu Model from Gulmarg in Jammu and Kashmir for DD India.
Former US Treasury Secretary Lawrence Summers says India's economic future is very bright thanks to the fastest pace of growth momentum witnessed in the last 10 years. Summers, who is President of Emeritus of Harvard University, was at the Delhi School of Economics where our correspondent Mark Lane caught up with him briefly in the corridor. He paints a bright picture for India's youthful population who can look forward to career spans of at least 50 years, during which time he predicts India's economy will grow 30 times. Let's listen in.
Professor Lawrence Summers is President Emeritus at Harvard University. He's been a chief economist at the World Bank. He served as the Treasury Secretary in the Clinton administration. He was also an economic advisor to the Obama administration. We are very privileged to catch up with him here at the Delhi School of Economics. Let's turn to him now. Professor Summers, you said that India could grow by, six-fold and then by 2047. What would be driving this growth?
Greater productive capacity that comes from capital accumulation, the application of ever more sophisticated technology, particularly information technology, and a labor force that's becoming increasingly skilled and capable in meeting the needs of the global economy.
How would you view the last 10 years of the government of India and the reforms that have been brought around?
I think it's been an extraordinarily strong period for India. It's been certainly probably the fastest decade of growth in Indian economic history. I think the greatest successes have been of energizing the economy with major public projects of various kinds. I think it's going to be important going forward to think about the tax and regulatory obstacles that hold back individual and corporate initiative, and to think about the process of economic reform.
You say that, India is a young country, and you were just talking about how the career span of the future is going to be about 50 years. So what do you think? I mean, what message are you giving to the young people of India?
I think that they're alive and launching on their careers at an extraordinarily exciting time. If India is able to grow at 7% a year for the next 5 decades, that would be an extraordinary thing in which the economy would grow more than 30 times over people's lifespans. And at the end of it, India would be very substantially richer than my country is today. And that would be a stunning achievement for a nation and bring stunning benefits to all its people.
Professor Summers, thank you very much for talking to us here in ADN. Thank you, sir.
India's Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman lauded Prime Minister Narendra Modi's financial credit schemes on Tuesday during a credit outreach program. During her 2-day visit to the North Indian state of Arunachal Pradesh's Itanagar, Sitharaman said that schemes such as Jan Dhan Yojana have made taking loans from the banks more accessible for people. Later in the day, she will inaugurate an SBI regional business office at Namsai.
जब से जनधन योजना के तहत माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी 2014 से हर परिवार में अकाउंट होना है, बैंक का अकाउंट होना है, ऐसे करके सभी परिवार तक पहुंचे, बैंक अकाउंट दिए उनको। अकाउंट मिलने के बाद ऐसे स्कीम मुद्रा स्वनिधि ऐसे बहुत सारे स्कीम ले आए, जिसमें आप बैंक में जाकर पूछने के समय वो आपसे कागज मांगते नहीं है। प्रधानमंत्री जी बैंक के पास ये बात रख लिया कि गरीब या मध्यवर्गीय लोगों से आप ऐसे कागज लेना छोड़ दीजिए। गवर्नमेंट प्रधानमंत्री जी का गारंटी है, इनको बिना गारंटी लोन दो।
Around the world on sale, and that too only 2 women with no outside support. Yes, you heard that right. Continuing with the celebration of maritime skill and adventure, 2 Indian Navy women officers are all set to conquer the rough waters of the world in 8 months. Lieutenant Commander Rupa A and Lieutenant Commander Dilna K would be embarking on the extraordinary expedition of circumnavigating the globe, Navika Saga Parikrama 2 on board INSV Tarini. The duo have been preparing themselves for the expedition for the last 3 years. DD India correspondent Vishal Baristo reports from Goa.
I'm in the Arabian Sea. This is INSV Tarini, and it is all set to circumnavigate across the globe. And the 2 very brave and adventurous lady officers from Indian Navy, they are all set to take this boat across all the rough waters of the world. I have with me Lieutenant Commander Rupa and Lieutenant Commander Dilna. So how much preparations have gone in for this big day?
So we've been preparing for the last 3 years, and we've done various preparatory ocean sorties, including transatlantic sorties and transoceanic sorties. So we have planned this voyage with 4 stopovers, and during the stopovers our main goal is to prepare the boat for the next voyage and to load up with the fresh rations and fresh water.
So we'll be stopping in Fremantle, which is in Australia. The next stop will be in Littleton, which is in New Zealand. And third one will be in Port Stanley, which is in South America. And the 4th stop will be in Cape Town, which is in South Africa.
So how challenging would it be?
The main challenge which we'll be facing is rough weather, and same time where there are no winds. In equator, there'll be days where you can't even move. So, and when we go down south, it'll get colder and colder, and the sea will be rough, and it'll be continuous more than 40 knots as we go down south.
So as you move onwards Australia, how it is going to be very, very difficult. So are you prepared for that, and what are going to be the difficulties?
We're looking at a phenomenon called cold fronts, which is very prevalent in that particular southern latitudes. So there you have rough seas with huge waves and like 30 to 40 knots of wind. It is very consistent. We have been following the weather for some time because before the voyage, it's starting tomorrow. So we've been following weather near Australia. We've already been looking at how is the weather and how is it changing. So we have quite an idea, and we have done some passage planning, which we will be following during this voyage.
And the geopolitical situation, what kind of emotions are going through your mind?
It's a mix of lot of emotions. It's a last moment where we have been waiting for this moment for a long time. Since 3 years we have been continuously practicing or training for this. So we are happy, we are excited.
So there you heard these two brave ladies in uniform from Navy. They are all prepared for the big day, and yes, we also wish them a very good luck and hope this voyage, which is going to be first of its kind as far as India is concerned, is successful. With cameraman Ramakant in Goa, this is Vishal Beristo for DD India.
And still to come on DD India Newshour. Tensions escalate between Russia and NATO over Ukraine. Britain becomes the first G7 country to end coal-fired power production.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
You're watching DD India Newshour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Tension remain high in West Asia as Israel begins ground operations to eliminate tunnel created by Hezbollah in Lebanon. Refuting operations, Hezbollah denied Israel's claim of its forces in Lebanon.
Armed violence between Israel and Hezbollah has been on the rise as cross-border attacks continue after months of low-intensity fighting. The Israeli military is carrying out targeted ground raids on Hezbollah positions along the border and have called on residents in more than 20 areas of southern Lebanon to evacuate.
We are determined to return our residents in the north safely to their homes. But on the other hand, there are also big challenges. We will stand firm together in these testing days. Together we will stand, together we will fight, and together we will win.
The military has destroyed many Hezbollah tunnels in ground and air operations in southern Lebanon villages.
We're not going to Beirut. We're not going to the cities in southern Lebanon. We are focusing in the area of those villages, an area next to a border, and we will do in this area what is necessary to dismantle and demolish Hezbollah's infrastructure that we're ready for use to do a 7th of October style.
Israelis near the Lebanon border hope that the ground incursion will bring residents home.
We finally see the Israel Defense Forces operating full force to change the situation, so our residents would be able to safely return to our beloved town.
We believe it will end, and well done to the IDF and to those who made the decision to make this move.
Refuting any ground invasion, Hezbollah has denied Israel's claim of its forces in Lebanon. The group also said that it had fired a barrage of missiles into Israel, including at its spy agency near Tel Aviv. International pressure is mounting on Israel and Hezbollah for a ceasefire. The White House said in a statement that Washington believes that the way to get a ceasefire is to have a diplomatic resolution. The United Kingdom too has voiced for peace, adding that conflict will have severe economic consequences.
None of us want to see a regional war. The price would be huge for the Middle East, and it would have a significant effect on the global economy.
International organizations have also urged both sides to reach a diplomatic resolution to the crisis.
Insist that the ground incursion should be halted, as we are receiving very worrying information, and Spain is firmly committed to the application of UN Security Council Resolution 1701.
Several countries, including Canada, Germany and Japan, have begun evacuating their nationals from Lebanon, as airlines are suspending flights to Lebanon. The United Nations Refugee Agency added that around 100,000 people had fled to Syria from Lebanon due to Israeli airstrikes. The Israeli raids follow intense airstrikes that have devastated the Hezbollah's leadership, including assassinating its chief Hassan Nasrallah in Beirut last week. Tripti Tripaঠি's report, DD India.
With each passing day, the Russia-Ukraine conflict intensifies, causing widespread destruction. Russian advances in eastern Ukraine and the decree to conscript more than 100,000 new servicemen in an autumn draft campaign have raised concerns for Ukraine. But new NATO chief Mark Rutte has raised hopes for Ukraine by pledging strong support for the country. Our next report by DD India's Mihir Maikhouri gives a complete roundup of all the developments in the conflict. Take a listen.
With millions displaced and hundreds dead, the Russia-Ukraine conflict rages on with no end in sight. For Ukraine, the situation at the front lines is tense and grim. Russian forces have taken control of the settlements of Kryvyi in eastern Ukraine's Donetsk region and Vishnyev in the Kharkiv region. And Moscow's troops have also reached the center of Ukraine's hilltop town of Vuhledar.
Reports in each of our frontline areas, our further capabilities and our specific tasks. The situation is very, very difficult. Everything that can be done this autumn, everything we can achieve, we must achieve. And it depends on everyone in the Ukrainian team.
Tuesday also saw 6 people being killed in strikes undertaken by Russian forces on southern city of Kherson. On the other hand, Russia is intensifying military recruitment ahead of winter's harsh conditions, ordering the conscription of 133,000 new servicemen in an autumn draft campaign. As former Dutch Premier Mark Rutte took charge as NATO chief on Tuesday, he emphasized at NATO headquarters in Brussels that Ukraine's right to self-defense does not end at the border.
Let's not forget, Ukraine is fighting a war of self-defense. And that means that Ukraine has the right to defend itself. And as we know, international law, and according to international law, this right does not end at the border.
Meanwhile, in a robust response to the West's strong support for Ukraine, the Kremlin announced on Tuesday that Russia will not discuss signing a new treaty with the United States to replace the agreement limiting each side's strategic nuclear weapons, which expires in the year 2026.
We must soberly look at the situation that has developed and taking into account all the new aspects, build the negotiation process in this way. It seems to us that insisting on conducting such negotiations, pretending that nothing has happened, would be at least unreasonable.
Overall, it will be intriguing to see how the Russia-Ukraine conflict unfolds with the new NATO chief taking charge and how Ukraine responds to Russian advancements. Mihir Maikhouri reporting for DD India.
In a major development at the NATO headquarters, leadership of the alliance has officially changed hands. Former NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg has stepped down, passing the reins to Mark Rutte, the former Dutch Prime Minister. Rutte, who held the office of Prime Minister for more than a decade, now assumes a key position at a critical time for NATO.
Dear Mark, please receive this special gavel and let me invite you to take the seat of the chair of the North Atlantic Council.
And with this, former NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg officially handed over the reins of the organization to Mark Rutte, who becomes NATO's new Secretary General in a ceremony held in the Council Chamber of Alliance headquarters. On assuming charge, NATO's new chief, Mark Rutte, voiced strong support for Ukraine. He admitted that the situation on Ukraine's battlefield is difficult, but added that Russia's advances come at a very high cost.
My second priority is to step up our support for Ukraine and bring it ever closer to NATO. Because there can be no lasting security in Europe without a strong, independent Ukraine.
In his political career, Mark Rutte held several positions. From July 22, 2022 to 17th of June 2004, he served as the State Secretary for Social Affairs and Employment under the first and second Balkanend governments. From 17th June 2004 to 7th July 2006, Mark Rutte was State Secretary for Education, Culture and Science. He became the leader of the VVD Parliamentary Party from 29th of June 2006 until 8th of October 2010. Mark Rutte served as Prime Minister and Minister of General Affairs in 3 consecutive Dutch governments from 2010 till 2023. His tenure as the longest-serving Dutch Prime Minister cemented his reputation as a seasoned statesman. As NATO's new Secretary-General, Mark Rutte faces a series of significant challenges. One of the most pressing is the outcome of the US elections, which could heavily influence the alliance's position on Ukraine. Another looming threat is the potential for a large-scale winter offensive by Russia in Ukraine. Additionally, Mark Rutte may face resistance from NATO's Eastern European members who have expressed frustration that the leadership role traditionally goes to Western or Northern Europeans. Building and maintaining consensus among the 31 member states will be a critical test of his leadership. All eyes will be on him as he navigates the complexities of international defense and diplomacy. Bureau Report, TT India.
Britain has become the first G7 country to end coal-fired power production on Monday with the closure of Uniper Ratcliffe onshore plant, marking the end of over 140 years of coal power. This move follows a 2015 announcement to phase out coal within a decade, during which coal's contribution to electricity fell from nearly 30% to just over 1% last year. As part of its commitment to achieve net zero emissions by 2050, Britain aims to decarbonize its electricity sector by 2030, necessitating a significant increase in renewable energy sources like wind and solar. Britain's biggest steel works also ended production on Monday, marking the end of over 100 years of steel making and resulting in nearly 3,000 job losses. The closure of the last blast furnace at Port Talbot, once the largest steel works in Europe, is the culmination of decades of decline in Britain's steel industry, which has struggled to compete with low-cost imports. Showing the scale of the challenge, India-owned Tata Steel had been losing £1 million a day before it began the process of shutting down its facilities. And Japan's newly elected Prime Minister took office on Tuesday and formed a cabinet made up of numerous security and defense experts. Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba pledged political reform and said he would seek deeper ties with friendly nations. Earlier on Sunday, Ishiba announced his plan to call a snap election in Japan on October 27. More in this report.
Japan's parliament on Tuesday formally selected Shigeru Ishiba as the country's new prime minister after he beat arch-nationalist Sanai Takaichi. Ishiba was chosen as the leader of the Liberal Democratic Party on Friday to replace Fumio Kishida. Kishida had announced his resignation at the end of a 3-year tenure in August after his government was dogged by scandals. On Monday, Ishiba announced a snap election.
I want this cabinet to be trusted by the people and empathize with the people. Politics for the people means beyond all things. We need to make sure all citizens understand and resonate with our efforts. I want to pursue such a politics that can be trusted and understood.
After being elected as the Prime Minister, Ishiba unveiled his cabinet. He appointed former Defence Chief Takaishi Awaya as Foreign Minister, while General Nakatani is appointed as Defence Minister. These appointments underscored his emphasis on defence and security policies. Katsunobu Kato is appointed as the Finance Minister, and Yoshimasa Hayashi will stay on as the Chief Cabinet Secretary. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar congratulated Takashi Iwaya on being appointed as the Foreign Minister of Japan. Former Defense Minister Ishiba will focus on his diplomacy with closest ally the United States, as he repeatedly called for a more balanced relationship with Washington.
We build on the US-Japan alliance and expand connection with like-minded countries. By enhancing both diplomatic and defense capabilities, we will maintain peace in the country and stability in the region.
Nerves are also running high over China's increasingly aggressive moves in the Indo-Pacific region. Earlier, he proposed an Asian version of the collective security group NATO to deter China and counter North Korea's missiles tests. At the same time, Ishiba will have to face some challenges at home. First, he has to quell simmering anger over rising living costs and a sluggish economy. Second, Japan has the world's oldest population, so he will aim to raise the low birth rate. Japan is also targeting carbon neutrality by 2050, and Ishiba wants to boost the use of renewables to fuel resource-weak Japan. Aman Kumar Himanshu's report, DD India.
And still to come on DD India Newshour. India and Jamaica are deepening bilateral ties. We'll discuss this in detail.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
You're watching DD India Newshour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj, and we will now discuss the deepening ties between India and Jamaica. And for that, we are joined by Amrit Lagoon, a former senior diplomat. Sir, a very warm welcome to the broadcast. First ever bilateral visit of a Prime Minister of Jamaica to India. And, you know, the two countries share diplomatic ties since many, many years. How do you see this? And how do you think this visit of Prime Minister Andrew Holness will strengthen the bilateral ties even more? And as far as, cooperation in multiple sectors like technology, energy, education and security is concerned?
Yeah, in fact, the visit of Prime Minister Holness, who happens to be, when he was elected the youngest Prime Minister of Jamaica, he was originally scheduled to visit in April 2020.
Yeah.
But then, because of the COVID situation and international situation, the visit could not happen. But he had already announced that during the visit, the resident mission of Jamaica would be opened in Delhi. And though his visit did not happen, the mission of Jamaica, or the resident embassy or high commission, let us say, of Jamaica was opened. And the first high commissioner was appointed in, I think, 2021. Whereas India, of course, had opened its diplomatic mission soon after our the first visit of a Prime Minister to Jamaica in 1975, Mrs. Indira Gandhi. And, then in 1976, we had opened a mission in Jamaica, in Kingston. And of course, then Prime Minister Vajpayee had also visited Jamaica in 2003, but that was mainly for the NAM summit. So the long overdue visit from Jamaica, which of course, one thing is that it's in a distant place. It's a relatively small country in the West Indies. But in spite of that, we have had a lot of energizing in a relationship in the last few years. In 2017, their foreign minister, Johnson, had visited India. That was the first foreign minister visit by Jamaica. But of course, other ministers, especially from trade, economy, etc., have been visiting Jamaica. India from Jamaica. The then president, Mr. Ramnath Kovind, had visited Jamaica in 2022.
So how big is this now? How big is Prime Minister's visit?
Yes,
how do you assess it?
I was coming to that only. So there has been a momentum, and it has shown very clearly in the trade sector, where the bilateral trade, which used to be around 28 to 29 million dollars in 2010-2011, has grown, as per the statistics of our Ministry of Commerce, to nearly 128 million dollars last year. And trade, of course, is heavily in India's favor. 90% of the trade is in our favor. So Jamaica, it's a small country relatively. So it appears that a lot of trade is not only going to Jamaica, from exports from India of the services, but also to the neighboring Caribbean countries, which is a good sign in spite of the differences. And I'm sure that technology is helping in this regard. In India, in fact, had set up, under the ICT capacity enhancement program of developing countries, a big ICT center in Jamaica, which is helping. In the visit, before the visit, we had announced Mr. Kovind's visit, Honorable Rashtrapatiji's visit, increase in high-tech slots, which is another major way of bridging people-to-people contact from 30 to 50. And I think already the Prime Minister has announced during this visit to name a road in front of the Jamaican High Commission
correct.
in India. But before that, we must also acknowledge that Jamaica has also been, giving us a good gesture by naming roads in the name of Indian dignitaries. They have
Definitely,
three bus of Mahatma Gandhi has been installed in Jamaica, and one in
and sir, one thing which PM Modi highlighted are the 4 C's, which characterize India-Jamaica relations: culture, cricket, Commonwealth, and CARICOM.
Yes.
How do you react to that?
Yes, that is in fact in the cultural aspect. We have had a cultural exchange program, and then in 2012, ICCR, Indian Council for Cultural Relationship, in the University of West Indies, where it's a very big university, where, as I was mentioning, the statue of Mahatma Gandhi was first installed, in 2012. So the chair of Indian Studies was established, and it has been renewed. And the latest one, it was renewed just 2022 for another 5 years. So culturally, we are very strong. The Indian diaspora, which is nearly 70,000 now, which has doubled since its independence, they play a very big role in this thing. In fact, the latest statue of Mahatma Gandhi was installed in a place where Indian diaspora play a big role. Cricket, of course, we know, is a big draw between the two. And also in CARICOM, India is very much associated with CARICOM because of the 12 members of CARICOM. Most of them are members of the Commonwealth. And India CARICOM Summit, which was held in New York on the sidelines of UNGA 2019, India had announced, setting up of a food park in Jamaica with the help of FAO. For 2-year project, I think $1 million grant was announced by our Prime Minister Modi.
And also, sir,
has been started implementing last year after tripartite agreement between the three sides.
Also, sir, 4 MOUs were signed between the two countries, in various sectors. Now, with the signing of 4 key MOUs, how do you see this shaping the future of India-Jamaica relations?
Yes, these agreements will further cement, or give institutional weightage or, backing to the growing relationship. as I told you, in the digital space, India has already set up a big ICT center, and Jamaica being a part of the English-speaking world, it's very easy to develop all these programs. And as I said, a cultural program due for renewal, so it has been
all right.
increased. And of course, in the sports field, I think Mr. Modi had already, Prime Minister had commented that our relationships should grow faster than Mr.
Usain Bolt. Yeah, correct.
So
correct.
it is natural to give this spin. So we're looking forward to that. Yes.
All right, lovely having.
We definitely hope a boost and. Prime Minister Holness has been very pro-India. He's a young Prime Minister, so it bodes well for our future.
Definitely. All right. Wonderful having you on the broadcast, sir. Thank you so much for joining in.
Okay, welcome.
And India's central government has reconstituted the Monetary Policy Committee of the Reserve Bank of India under the RBI Act of 1934. The MPC has been reconstituted as Governor of the Reserve Bank of India is the chairperson ex officio, while Deputy Governor of the RBI is the in charge of monetary policy. One officer of the RBI will be nominated by the Central Board. Professor Ram Singh, Director, Delhi School of Economics, is a member, along with economist Sri Sogata Bhattacharya and Dr. Nagesh Kumar, who is the Director and Chief Executive, Institute for Studies in Industrial Development in New Delhi. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar extended warm greetings to various countries marking their Independence Day on Tuesday. Taking to X, he shared a video on India-Nigeria relations. He said that India cherished its close ties with Nigeria. He also wished the government and people of Tuvalu on their Independence Day, saying that India will continue to deepen its engagement with the Indo-Pacific. Wishing the Republic of Palau, Jaishankar said that India was committed to strengthening bilateral cooperation. For Cyprus, the minister said that India valued its close and time-tested friendship with the country. Floods and landslides across Asia have killed more than 200 people and caused destruction in the region. On the other hand, the US is dealing with wildfires that have consumed hectares of land and resulted in mass evacuation. With uncertain climatic conditions around the globe, there is a need to address it.
Several regions in Asia are adversely impacted by floods and landslides that continue to upend normal life. Devastating floods have wreaked havoc and killed over 220 people in Nepal. Government has prioritized search and rescue and relief operations for 143 people that are still missing. Efforts are underway as most roads and highways in the capital Kathmandu remain blocked due to landslides. Prime Minister K.P. Sharma Oli called for an emergency meeting and declared 3 days of mourning for the death of hundreds of people. 1 billion rupees have been allocated to deal with the situation. The government is distributing water purification kits in the region to prevent waterborne diseases. The Water Ministry said that floods and landslides have caused damage to property worth more than 1 billion rupees in the drinking water sector of the country. Heavy discharge of water through rivers from Nepal has damaged embankments, leading to catastrophic floods in India's eastern state of Bihar. Hundreds of villages have been inundated, affecting more than 350,000 people. State and national disaster response forces are engaged in relief operations. Authorities also conducted an aerial survey of the flood-affected area. Schools have been shut and a holiday is declared, advising people to stay at home in Taiwan as it braces for landfall of super typhoon Kraton. More than 7,700 people have been evacuated from vulnerable areas as a precautionary measure. Flights have been cancelled and 40,000 troops are on standby to bolster rescue efforts. Residents made barriers around their homes using sandbags to protect them from the impact of high tides. Kraton, labelled as a Category 3 hurricane, is expected to make landfall on Wednesday. Devastating wildfires have engulfed America's Bolivia. President Luis Acre officially declared it a national disaster on Monday. The government announced the measure, citing severe air pollution and a sanitary danger due to the fires. More than 7 million hectares of forest have been consumed, and the region is facing an environmental crisis.
We have approved this decree 5253, which is the declaration of national disasters, so that we can activate everything possible to combat these fires, which have been worrying us for the last 3 months, in which we have been fighting them.
In the United States, California has ordered evacuation after a blaze flared up over the weekend. The inferno has consumed around 43,000 acres of land. Globally, nations are working together to take measures to reduce global warming, as extreme weather events are expected to worsen over the years. Bureau Report, DD India.
Let's take a look at other stories making news. India's manufacturing sector employment increased by 7.4% in 2022-23 over the previous year, according to annual survey of industries released by the country's Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. The top 5 highest employing states in this sector were Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, Gujarat, Uttar Pradesh and Karnataka. The World Health Organization has started the Training of Trainers program for emergency unit preparedness and response at AIIMS, Delhi. WHO has developed the program for frontline healthcare staff in emergency unit like doctors, nurses, logistic supports, technicians, etc. Participating teams include AIIMS staff from New Delhi, Jodhpur, Patna and Jammu. India's Social Justice and Empowerment Minister Dr. Virendra Kumar on Tuesday stated that people need to celebrate and honour the wisdom of older generation. Addressing an event on the International Day of Older Persons 2024 in New Delhi, the minister also highlighted the vital role senior citizens play in shaping the community. Chief Minister of Indian State of Mizoram, Pu Lalduhoma, inaugurated a state-of-the-art 3D dental laboratory on Tuesday at Sarchip College, funded by Prime Minister's Development Initiative for the North-East region. This significant addition aims to enhance dental services in the region, particularly for patients requiring dentures. The 26th Water, Energy, Technology and Environment Exhibition 2024 began on Tuesday at the Dubai World Trade Center in UAE. Exhibition featured 16 international pavilions from 14 countries, underscoring its global significance in promoting sustainable technologies. The event witnessed a strong Indian presence with 29 leading companies participating in the Indian pavilion. The robust Indian presence at WETEX reflects the flourishing UAE-India economic relationship.
Our expectations from the WETEX is to see that we explore this market first time here, and also we look forward that how this WETEX will help in our business as well as helping the Dubai manufacturers and the manufacturers all over the world.
We are participating in Dubai WETEX Expo, where we have brought more than 14 companies here, those who are showcasing new technologies and innovation which is going to transform the whole water treatment industry of Middle East and GCC country as well as Africa. We have brought innovations such as technologies which will also have benefit for the green environment, where the water wastage and sewage treatment and effluent treatment all having a sustainable solutions for the same, which is cost effective for countries like a lot of countries like Africa and all. Over here visitors are there, so they will get very cost effective technology and solution from us.
Marking the completion of 10 years of the Swachh Bharat mission, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will participate in Swachh Bharat Divas 2024 on October 2nd. The event coincides with the celebration of 155th birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi at Vigyan Bhavan, New Delhi. Here's a report.
At the landmark event of Swachh Bharat Divas 2024, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will launch and lay the foundation stone for several sanitation and cleanliness projects. These projects collectively worth over $960 million. It includes initiatives under Amrut and Amrut 2.0, the National Mission for Clean Ganga and the Govardhan Scheme.
मोदी जी का सपना है, उनका एक टारगेट भी है कि विकसित भारत बनाना है। विकसित भारत के सपने को साकार करने के साथ साथ देश में स्वच्छता का भी संदेश जाना चाहिए। इसीलिए स्वाभाविक रूप से ये कार्यक्रम 10 साल जब पूर्ण करने के समय पर एक बहुत अच्छे माहौल के साथ जो अपनी पूर्णता की ओर जा रहा है। अभी तो काम करना बाकी है, बहुत सा काम हुआ है। उस काम में क्वालिटी में भी हम और सुधार हो जाए और टेक्नोलॉजी का उपयोग हो जाए, उसके लिए हम सब कोशिश कर रहे हैं।
Among these, over $680 million will go towards improving urban water and sewage systems under Amrut and Amrut 2.0. Additionally, $155 million will be dedicated to enhancing water quality and waste management in Ganga basin areas. As part of the National Mission for Clean Ganga, the Prime Minister will also inaugurate 15 compressed biogas plants, projects worth approximately $133 million under the Govardhan scheme, all aimed at boosting sanitation and clean energy initiatives.
Sanitation started as a journey towards becoming open defecation free. There is very significant change that has happened in people's behavior and in a sustainable manner. The emphasis is on overall solid and liquid waste management. A lot of work is going into proper management of fecal sludge at treatment facilities, STPs, FSTPs, etc.
The Swachh Bharat program will highlight India's decade-long achievements in sanitation and cleanliness, as well as the outcomes of the recent Swachhta Hi Seva campaign. This year's theme, Swabhav Swachhta, Sanskar Swachhta, continues to resonate with millions across the country, emphasizing both personal responsibility and cultural values in maintaining cleanliness. With these new projects and an unwavering commitment to cleanliness, India is setting the stage for the next phase of Swachh Bharat mission, ensuring that the movement continues to thrive and inspire. Kriti Vadhera's report for DD India.
An 80-year-old model from South Korea, Choi Soon-hwa, is making headlines as the oldest contestant in the Miss Universe Korea pageant. Competed against women young enough to be her grandchildren, Choi believes age is just a number and aims to show that grace and beauty can transcend age. With her striking silver hair and confident demeanor, Choi emphasizes the importance of inner peace, respect and positivity. She narrowly missed becoming the oldest person to win Miss Universe Korea on Monday. The competition allows the winner to represent South Korea in November's Miss Universe competition. Choi was the oldest finalist the pageant has seen. While Choi lost to 22-year-old fashion school student Han Ariel, she ended up taking home the Best Dresser award. You're watching DD India Newshour. Time now for sport. And India's superb display of teamwork stole the show at Kanpur as India beat Bangladesh in a 2-match test series. In the second test, India won by 7 wickets and in the process created many records.
Team India rode on the pitches of Kanpur, recording a clean sweep victory against Bangladesh in 2-match test series. Spin duo of Ravichandran Ashwin and Ravindra Jadeja, along with pacer Jasprit Bumrah, worked their magic as India dismissed Bangladesh in 2-match test series on day 5. In the process, India created many records as well. Yashasvi Jaiswal scored 72 runs from 51 balls in an innings, started with 12 fours and 2 sixes, totaling to 1,166 runs in the World Test Championship 2023-25 cycle, which is now the highest by an Indian and the second highest behind Joe Root in the cycle. Not only this, Rohit Sharma also became the first opener to hit sixes of the first 2 balls in Test innings and the 4th overall. If you talk about India, India smashed the record for fastest team 100 and fastest team double 100 in Test cricket as well. Yashasvi Jaiswal and Shubman Gill powered the team to the fastest team 100 in Test cricket's history. With this, India also achieved the score in just 10.1 overs, breaking their own world record from 2023, where they reached 112.2 overs against West Indies in Port of Spain.
Let's talk about King Kohli also, who etched his name deeper into the annals of cricket history by becoming the fastest player to score 27,000 runs in international cricket. India's aggressive batting continued as Virat Kohli scored 47 of 35 balls and KL Rahul added 68 of 43, propelling the team to another record. With this performance, India shattered the record for the fastest team score of 200 in Test cricket, achieving the milestone in just 24.2 overs. India star all-rounder Ravindra Jadeja also became the second fastest player in Test cricket to achieve the double milestone of 3,000 runs and 300 wickets. A test series that saw a lot of interruption due to bad light followed by heavy rains could not dampen the spirits of both the sides, as Team India not only got a chance to prove their prowess in all formats of cricket including the tests. On the other hand, Bangladesh too put up a decent performance but eventually went down to the host on gripping day 5 of the Kanpur test. Sports Test, DD India.
And four-time Grand Slam champion Carlos Alcaraz emulated Rafael Nadal in reaching the China Open final as he sent Daniel Medvedev packing 7-5, 6-3 on Tuesday. The 21-year-old Spaniard Alcaraz has moved into his first final in Beijing. Alcaraz drew first blood when he broke last year's finalist Medvedev's serve to claim the first set. In the second set, Alcaraz took a 3-2 lead and wrapped up the match with ease. Alcaraz is one win away from his 16th ATP Tour title. That's all for this edition of DD India News Hour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. You can scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.